Welcome back to GBN America with me, Patrick Christys, and we're going to be talking now to Aaron McMann. Now, Aaron is the chief beat writer covering the University of Michigan football program for M Live Media Group. There's a lot to go at here. Thank you very much for joining us, Aaron. I want to talk a bit about another Aaron, okay? Aaron Rodgers. Can you just fill us in? What's happened there? Because as far as I can tell, this guy's kind of gone off the reservation from what a lot of traditional American sports stars might do. I suppose the people who praise him would say he's a free thinker. He's out of the box and he's woken up to a lot of issues going on. Some of his critics might say that he's lost the plot. What's happening?
Yeah, I think when all is said and done, he's going to go down as one of the more intriguing figures in history of the NFL. You know, not only for his lengthy Hall of Fame career, but what he says off of it. He's had some unconventional views in the past. He's found an outlet for them with the Pat McAfee show on ESPN in recent months. We have to remember, he's 40 years old. He's coming off the end of a 2-decade NFL career. He just had a season-ending injury last year that kind of halted things. So I think there's a little bit of frustration and anger coming out of him. He's built an outlet for himself, but at the same time, too, he's kind of polarized things as well.
He's been quite vocal about the COVID vaccine, hasn't he? He's saying that he is immune to COVID himself. Is that right?
He has, yes. And in fact, he said he went and got, he was asked about being vaccinated, and he said he was immunized, not vaccinated, because there was some alternative method that he was able to find. It rubbed some folks the wrong way. At the time, the NFL had a vaccine policy for players. He was kind of immune to that, and it certainly, it created headlines in the United States, and it was certainly a topic of discussion for a while.
Okay. Do we have any idea what that remedy was?
He mentioned some ivermectin and some other things that I'm not exactly probably qualified to discuss as not being a doctor, physical specialist. He said he was approved by his doctor, but it was a weird situation.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone was going to say that you were recommending alternative therapy there. But he also has been quite vocal, I think you referenced it earlier, about Jimmy Kimmel. What's he been saying about Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah, he criticized Jimmy Kimmel, mentioned him in a list of potential co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein, who's been charged with child trafficking and questionable situations. He brought him up in an interview just a few weeks ago. It made headlines in the United States. There was no proof that Jimmy Kimmel was involved, and it was a really weird situation because here you had an NFL quarterback go on a program on the ESPN popular cable network, sports cable network in the United States, which is owned by the same network in Disney in which airs Jimmy Kimmel's programming. So it was a weird couple of days. He was widely criticized for it, being that there was no proof, and since then there has been no proof. And it's created quite a stir for both Pat McAfee, who aired the comments, and Aaron Rodgers as well.
What's going on when it comes to his general politics? I mean, he's saying that the woke media is taking over sports and things like this. I suppose there is this argument, isn't there, that sports stars, especially the way that America does sports, builds people up often from high school age, then into college, then out into kind of big conglomerate corporations like the NFL, for example. And brands latch onto these people and they create these absolute megastars, don't they? But I suppose they're expected to behave a certain way. They're expected to toe a certain line. What kind of impact is this having on Aaron Rodgers?
It's an interesting dynamic because it's a discussion that they've been having in professional sports here in the United States for years now. It's a thing that ownership and league officials have to wrestle with because you have a segment of the fan base who doesn't want to hear it or see that type of stuff. This goes back to even pre-COVID. The days of Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback in the NFL, kneeling for the national anthem. He was roundly criticized at the time. And soon after that, blackballed from the league and has never played a game in the league since. So it's a complicated issue, and it's one that owners, league officials, and even fans have to have had to come to grips with. Leagues have set aside policies, especially in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement, where maybe teams can do things as opposed to individuals, because you're right, it can rub people the wrong way. Folks tend to tune into sports to kind of get rid of get away from the politics and the things of everyday life. And some of them don't want to hear it, whereas some folks want the players to use their platforms for this type of stuff. It's quite the juxtaposition. You've got one side of progressive movement saying, these athletes are big and powerful and should use their platform to let their views be known, and you've got other folks saying, well, we don't want to hear that stuff. Let's stick to sport.